Thanks, Chair. I appreciate that. I would just note that Mr. McKenzie, of course, said that the private sector could and should build pipelines in Canada. But since Mr. Singh is here and raised this issue of the major struggles that Canadians now face because they can hardly afford to heat, eat, feed, drive, and house themselves, and especially as Thanksgiving is coming, and there are pictures online showing that some Canadians are looking at a 10-kilogram turkey costing over $80. And after 9 years, more Canadians they're forced to visit food banks than ever before. Chair, I would just like to move the motion that I gave notice of on April 12th, 2024, given that on April 1st, the Liberal government increased the consumer carbon tax by 23%. Two, that 70% of Canadians and 70% of premiers are opposed to the latest carbon tax increase. Three, that the NDP premier of Manitoba recently came out against the carbon tax and plans to put forward a proposal to exempt the province from the carbon tax. Four, 1 in 5 Canadians are struggling. They live in energy poverty. So all of us together, in order to lower energy costs for Canadians living in energy poverty, the committee report to the House its recommendation that the Liberal government abolish the consumer carbon levy, more commonly referred to as the carbon tax. I would urge all members around the table to vote for this motion to axe the costly carbon tax so that just at least a little relief can be provided to struggling Canadians, their families, their loved ones this Thanksgiving weekend so that they can afford to eat. Why don't we vote on it right now?
Okay, well, we have a motion on the floor and we have a speaking order, so we'll get through the speaking order and hopefully deal with that. Mr. Bruson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have witnesses here that we're definitely going to want to hear from, and so I'm going to be suggesting that we go there and go back to our witnesses. But just before that, I appreciate that the member opposite talked about Thanksgiving and the upcoming day, because it does give me a chance to highlight the fact that next week Canadians will be receiving the carbon rebate wherever the federal backstop applies. And with that, they will be seeing for the first time the doubling of the rural top-up on that payment. So I recommend that they do look out in their account. It'll be a direct deposit or they'll get a check, but the carbon rebate is part of the carbon pricing system, which the Conservatives apparently are suggesting that we scrap. And never mind the fact that carbon pricing, as I mentioned at the very beginning, is the most efficient, and when I say efficient, it is the cheapest way of dealing with emissions. And that's supported by so many economists who back us on that, so that there may be other pathways to doing it. Not that the Conservatives have suggested a single other path that they would to doing it, but I will say that the challenge is that it's an efficient system, and I would fully support it. But I would like to suggest that since we do have witnesses here, and I would really like to be able to ask them some more questions, that we adjourn the debate on this motion.
Okay, so we will put it to a vote. Go ahead. Call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. So the question is that the debate be now adjourned. Ms. DeBruson?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Jahari?
Yes.
Ms. Romanato?
Oui.
Mr. Hanley?
Yes.
Mr. Dreeshen?
No.
Mr. Falk?
No.
Mr. Patzer?
Nope.
Ms. Stubbs?
Tangled web, but nope.
Monsieur Simard?
Oui.
Mr. Angus?
Yes.
It's adopted 7-4.
It's adopted.
Adopted to adjourn.
7-4, debate is adjourned.